So like, have you ever had a concussion before?
No.
No?
No.
Yeah, I've had 7. I'm just kidding, I've had 7. That'd be really bad.
We're rolling.
Yep, sweet, okay. Ready, set? Real estate. So, Jess, we want to talk about why did you choose C21 to work at C21?
Yeah, so C21, I actually really just had a good vibe about it, good gut feeling. That's what it came down to for me. It wasn't about anything else. It really just was that. People are surprised when I tell them that because I know they pick a brokerage to work for based on numerous factors, but I just had that vibe. I don't know. So I went with it. And I think now that I actually work there and have worked there for a long time, I see the benefits in so many different ways for the public. I believe, as far as I'm aware, it's the biggest brokerage now in Peterborough, right? And just having, I kind of feel that like when I have a listing, it's not just me, but it's the entire brokerage that kind of has that listing. And there's over 100 realtors at our office that are seeing it, you know, on our C21 page, or it's just like top of mind to them because all of the agents in the office are kept to date on all the listings that come about in the brokerage, and some of them are on the tours that they do every Tuesday morning and that sort of thing. So, and I just can see, you know, all the new listings that our brokerage has and whatnot. So when you have your house for sale with C21, I feel like you have a big team behind you.
Yeah, no, I get that. For me, when I was younger, my parents worked for Remax. So honestly, I was like, no to C21 and yes to Remax. And then I ended up going to different brokerages here in town and interviewing them. And the one here in Peterborough was the only one out of all the different offices that would be like, it was Doug himself that would be like, hey Brandon, what are you doing next Tuesday? And it's like, you know, Thursday the week prior. And I'm like, oh, because at the time I was unemployed, the only time in my life I wasn't working. And I was choosing brokerages to then get started, right? And so I didn't have a lot of my schedule. So he was like, well, why don't you come back, we can go over this and that. And I'm like, and I kind of like was studying sales and the importance of like that kind of stuff, like follow up and whatnot. So to me, it was like, wow, like he understands how it works. And if I'm going to learn from someone, I'm going to learn from him.
Yeah.
And the whole office as a whole, because everyone that's part of that's kind of like-minded in that sense. And that's why I chose them, was because of the training, because no other brokerage essentially that I went to really offered the kind of training that C21 offered. I was quite focused on like the brokerage split and the money at the time, because I thought that's what was important. I didn't really know what else would be important about it. So I was like doing the math on like, okay, this brokerage is this much, this brokerage is that much, C21's this much, and they weren't number one for that, but this one was. So I was like wanting to go here. But then looking back at it now, that's your first year contract, and you don't even really make a lot of money anyway, so it's really negligible in terms of the savings you're gonna get. After that, like you're gonna have a different contract, so it doesn't even matter. And usually the first year one is just to entice agents to come in anyway, so it doesn't really mean much because it's not like long term. So like I'm so happy that I didn't do it for the broker split and instead the training, because every day there'd be like something new. I'd be like, oh, how does this work? And I would call Doug Lytle. I'd be like, hey Doug, how does this work? How does that work? And he'd have an answer for me. And then I've called you a lot too to learn. So having those agents in the office that were experienced, knew what they were doing, having Doug just really brought me from like a low level to like, you know, a lot too.
Well, and who you surround yourself with is so important too. And well, when I started, Carl Oak owned it and ran the company. Yeah. So same thing. He would call me in for meetings all the time when I was in my real estate courses, and Doug as well. Same thing when he came back to C21. I'd go for lunch and meet with him too. And they were doing what I would want to do if I was a realtor type thing. And now Vanessa running the company is doing the same thing, right? It's a serious, real business and company to them, and that's how they treat it. And the training, it's not just, you know, it's just amazing. Like the training that we have is wild.
Our office is number 20 in the entire world out of all C21 offices. That's out of, I don't know how many, I think it's 14,000 offices or something like that. Is that right?
And the training as well, even though like I'm experienced and everything like that, when I do go to the training sessions, I'm blown away. I'm like, I need to come to this more often. This is amazing. There's always so much to learn, and it's just, yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, and I do think too, it's not just like Century 21. That's it. It's like Century 21, the one in Peterborough for us, because it's Vanessa, it's Doug, it's all the people that are in the management team that do what they do and bring in like a lawyer to go over, what's title insurance, or they bring in so-and-so, and then you can learn from them. And then I'm thinking, well, nice, because I want to learn how to grow my business. Maybe I can use this for videos and be able to like help teach and educate people about how certain things work, because I don't just know that on my own, or I don't even really know where to look to learn some of these things. But by virtue of being a part of C21, it just comes to me, and then I'm like learning, and you get better and stuff. And I know if I worked at any other brokerage, it would just be like you on your own. You'd walk into the office, and maybe the person running it's like also trading real estate, so they're kind of busy and they have to go on their own listing appointment, and you have to like set a time with them because they're too busy to talk to you in the moment, and there's only like 5 other agents there. C21 is like such a big business in Peterborough, and we're number 1 in Peterborough right now for sales, and being 14 in the world shows that we're obviously doing something right. So the agents that we have a lot of experience. So if I was new, joining C21 and then identifying agents that can help me and asking them questions and stuff and learning and going to those things in the first 6 months to a year would be huge, like really big.
Oh yeah, so. And I remember when I started, a lot of the veteran older agents at the office, they were super supportive, like not even just at Century 21, actually all around Peterborough. I would stay on the phone with some of them till like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Just learning and getting advice and whatnot. And I think it's important to try and keep a lot of those same like-minded people in a brokerage, which Century 21 has done a pretty good job at.
Yeah. The other thing that helps is when you are new and you're like calling someone up, say, I don't know, you got someone through your open house, they signed in, you have their number, you call them on Monday, and you're like, hey, it's Brandon here with Century 21. They know like, okay, like I know he's a real estate agent. It's not like, hey, it's Brandon here with like just selling your house brokerage. Even that would be pretty obvious because I said just selling your house, but like just, whatever brokerage. And they're like, huh? Like what? What is it? And then like they can't even like listen to what you're saying because they're like trying to figure out who you were and what you just said.
So it's just recognizable as soon as you call
recognizable,
people.
adds credibility. And then that way too, if you're ever competing on listings and such, it gives you more credibility in the beginning when that really matters before you have like your own personal brand as well. And then when you can combine the two things, have your own personal brand and then C21 to back you, and the consistency of the branding of C21 I think is key because it's very like clear for the consumer in their mind to know what Century 21 is. There's no kind of confusion around it. Like I don't want to like say other brokerage names because I probably shouldn't do that, but some of the newer ones, I bet you if you like surveyed people in Lakefield here, hey, what's this? They'd be like, I don't know, a lot of them. But if you're like, hey, what's Century 21? They'd be like, oh, the real estate? Like they know, right? Mm-hmm. So then it just like helps when you're...
Well, brand recognition for sure is huge. But I think that, yeah, it's a lot more important than that for the actual individual agent.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to work somewhere personally just because of the brand. I'd want to make sure that the culture is huge. The culture is number one.
Yeah, that's why the office itself is so important, and the people there.
And like when I started, it was like not even just the realtors or Carl and Doug and all the support staff. It was also like the admin, at the front desk that were welcoming, and everyone, Dan, the sign guy, everybody.
You're still doing it too, eh?
Yeah, awesome. Everyone that was there, and yeah, it's just a great team.
Like the other thing that I would say about it, so it's like, all the credibility, that kind of stuff, the culture locally, having all the great agents, having like Doug per se or someone individually that can really push you compared to other brokerages, say, all that. But also too, just having an office where they delegate a lot of things, like the sign order, having a transaction coordinator. A lot of offices don't even offer that. So you have to like hire your own transaction coordinator, which I didn't even know was like a thing because I just thought every office had a transaction coordinator.
Yeah, I did too.
So like having the different softwares, like the website and all this stuff that's also consistent, allows you to focus more on like the things that matter. Really?
Yeah, so with everything that our office has, we truly can just focus on our client because we know those back end things are getting taken care of by the transaction coordinator. The sign is getting put up by Dan, the sign guy, and he has insurance and all that sort of thing to, make sure that that's all taken care of. Every single thing is well thought out and planned, and Vanessa's always trying to do better for the brokerage constantly.
Yeah.
Like it's like
always
a daily
very innovative. Like literally did all the, even just the remodeling and this Lakefield office plus the one in Peterborough is like a good sign of like putting money into making it show better.
Yeah, and just the new client event thing that they're planning on doing, and
they're doing something where they're like having something so all agents can bring all their clients to one thing that's kind of managed, but that's cool.
Yeah, they just always have different things on the go. They have that new coffee lab meeting every month. They have the steps program every month, prospecting challenges. Just all kinds of things, right? And then also on like a personal level, when people are going through personal things, they actually care about them like they're actual people, right?
Yeah.
And when, like Louisa, when we lost her, so devastating, Vanessa also made a Louisa Dumont Memorial Award and invited her kids to the award ceremony and all of that sort of thing. So not just treating people that work there as replaceable.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, well, she's not replaceable ever. But, because most places make you feel that way.
Yeah.
That you are replaceable.
Yeah.
You're like a dime a dozen, right?
I feel like Century 21's just gotten better and better and better since I started. And when I started, at the time, it was like they were so much better with the training and all that stuff that really matters that I was like, I don't know how they could get better. But yet they just seem to always get way better. Like, especially with the training and the things they offer and stuff. Like you just listed off like 6 things that they're doing that it's like they weren't doing that much when I started, but it still seemed like a lot then. So if you're like joining as a new agent, you'd just be immersed in like the whole culture and things to actually do because you're so on your own that would really like propel you forward and stuff.
And I don't think people realize how helpful they are. So for example, we have a skills training session every month on my team. So we've done a couple with Doug at the office where I just email him and say, can you meet with my team and I to go over this particular skills topic? And we sit with him in the boardroom for an hour or two. Sometimes it's like super long. And we just go over this and it's like you would almost think that he's a specialist in this particular thing that I randomly thought about.
He's like the real estate god. Like he knows everything about real estate.
He never brought it up. I'm like, hey, Doug, I want to do training on this. Can you meet Tuesday at 1? He's like, sure, see you there. So he meets in the room. He's like, so what are we doing? I'm like, this. Yeah. And then he just does it. Yeah. And I'm like, thanks, that was perfect. He's like, okay. I'm like, that's what I had planned.
So like starting your own team, you have the help you need in that department. I don't know a whole lot of brokerages that really have the support for team leaders and starting your own team and stuff because it's kind of a newer-ish thing. Sort of, like maybe in the past 10 years. Before then, there wasn't really a lot of real estate teams. So it's something brokerages that if they can like specialize in niche into like training teams would really go a long way. And definitely Century 21 does that. So I would, I'm very happy with them and I would definitely not switch to any other brokerage. I've never even really thought about that. So
it's kind of sad to think of.
I know, eh? Like imagine leaving? No.
And I also like, not that this isn't the most important thing, but the location of the office, the parking, you know how everyone has their own space. It's huge in there. They have all of the updated equipment, which I mean, you would think that's common sense, but you know, that's not always the case. Like the photocopier, the nice coffee lounge area for clients, the boardroom for meeting with clients, and just the whole atmosphere in the office is a good place that you would want to meet with clients, work, you know, and there's enough space for everybody, even though there's over 100 agents there.
I should say too, like we are getting paid to say this.
Yeah, right. We should.
No, we're definitely not. And I mean it when I say it. You know, there's really no like negatives. Like maybe a bit more parking if I had to say. Like I don't know. Like,
parking for like 2 more cars.
Yeah,
there's
to get like 2. Yeah, exactly right. Like when there's like the big meetings, maybe, but. It's because it's like downtownish. So, but anyways, I think that's pretty.
Well, and Mike Jones, the mortgage broker we had on our show a few times ago, his office is right in there too. Mm-hmm. So sometimes if clients are coming to the office to meet us and they're meeting him, they can go in his office. Yeah. So it's kind of like everything is right there, right?
Yeah.
So
you don't have to like even really go find your own mortgage broker. It's just right there.
And then if you're going downtown to like, you know, Del Cray Park or something and you can't find parking, you can just park your car there.
Just park at Century 21. They'll be like, no, you shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, no. I don't know. Do you do that? I do that. Does Vanessa know we do that?
It's fine after hours. It's like no one's there. But that's the other thing too is like you can go in anytime. I'm sure other brokerages you can also go in anytime like at night and stuff. But it's sweet though. I like it there.
Yeah.
Alrighty?
Set up. Yeah.
Let's switch to different brokerage. I'm just kidding.